Oh guys, sorry for dragging this out a little bit, but we have been waiting on parts, something fierce. So today we did get the starter spacer and the hold downs for all of the injectors, or for not the return line bolts. We got all them. He sent them to the PO box, so I'll show you guys what needs to be done. We got our starter spacer in. This is from Amazon, and then you guys will see we got all of the injector hold downs, which I'm going to replace every one of them. And the aux beam box we'll talk about in a couple of days when the rest of the stuff comes in. But we'll have that, and then he's bringing me a dowel pin for the transmission. So today we need to get that starter in and get the transmission and engine, everything bolted up. We're going to put new fluids in the transfer case and transmission just for peace of mind. Then there's a couple little odds and ends we can work on. I'm still waiting on the ECU to be able to finish up the wiring and whatnot, so I'm not going to put any of the wires in until the ECU is physically in, because then we need to find a mounting place for it, and then we can start stretching wires and whatnot. And then we can also get the key made for this thing, because we need the ECU. So he should have one of those on order, but 100% he ordered the dowel pin and it's coming today. So we'll have at least, the whole truck will be together. Then it's just little odds and ends, like everything will be together, the interior will be together. Then we just need pretty much the little odds and ends, which the oil feed, I do have the parts for the oil drain. I went and got gasket stuff, and I found my drill bit, my M14 by 1.5 for this guy. So that will also get drilled out today, because I knew I had one. I just had to go through and find everything. He also has the tone ring that won't be here for a while. I need to put this back, clean all this up, put it all back in. So it's all coming together. Then the only thing physically keeping the engine from starting is the oil feed. We just need one more female fitting. So once we get the drain in, I'm going to throw some oil down the turbo hole, the little feed inlet, and then I think we also have the parts for the hoses, so we're gonna get them in as well. Then we need batteries. That's also very important. We need batteries. All right, here is all 5 of them. I am gonna save these in case we ever get to a point where it's like, hey, we need one in an emergency. Just throw them in my bolt bucket. But no sense in not replacing all 6 of them with brand new ones since we have them. So that's what we're gonna do. They're just little 10mm bolts with a washer on each side. So let's get them installed. Alright, here's the starter spacer. So what I'm seeing is when you get it, you're going to have to smack that on with a mallet just to get it tight, because this is a tight fit. So that's good, that's what you want. Take our new bolts that they give you. You guys can see right there. So let's get this thing bolted up and then wired up. Alright, so while we're under here, you guys can see the starter spacers on. We got our bolts on, Loctite. Top of the starter, everything good, plugged in. I'm hoping that, I'm pretty sure that this is the feed line, so we have that plugged in. But if not, you guys can see there's 2 lines. So there's another line here for return. I forget which one is return and which one is feed, but I'm pretty sure that this one was the return. I could be wrong, but if we are, they both reach just fine. Just need to cut a little bit of this hose back right here. Just need to cut it back, and then you guys will see that it will actually reach. So hopefully this is the feed, but like I said, if not, not a big deal. I can't tell until the ECU is in. So yeah, this thing's ugly. So just waiting on one of these dowels. He's coming soon. Then we're gonna put the tranny in, but you can see how much extra the starter. So there we go. So we finally went, I drilled this out. I forget the drill bit size, but this is the M14 by 1.5 that needed. So I'm able to go and buy pretty much any of these as long as it fits this. And then I can just drill them out from now on, because they don't actually sell these at Home Depot or Lowe's. So I think this one was, I don't even remember what it was, but it's on the list for you guys. So pretty much this will screw in. You want to make sure that you get it the whole way down so that the O-ring actually does seat. So you don't got to throw any thread sealer on the top. And look at that, the O-ring will seat it, and there you go. Now you have a perfectly good sensor. Drilled it out. I didn't drill the whole way down through, just all the way to the end. So now we'll throw some thread sealer on that, call it a day. We are good. Now we have this for future reference. Alright, sensor is in, all threaded down. That's a 22, that's a 21, all done. I went and got a new clamp for him. So we'll get that thrown on now. So downpipe is up, but you guys can see there's kind of like an angle. So the engine needs to come back a little bit, like it needs to be lifted up, which would, if I had the transmission on, wouldn't be a problem. But we only have one jack, so we're gonna have to use the engine crane to lift it so that I can put the downpipe on. All right, so I got it up on blocks, which I know makes no sense because I have to lift the transmission up. But the reason I did that was because it is pain to sit underneath there without any room. So came, dropped off a couple of parts. We got a dowel pin now so we can get the trans in. So what I'm doing here is the same thing you guys saw me before. I can't lift this by myself, and a jack certainly isn't going to do it. I don't have a trans jack. So what I do, one ratchet in the front, one ratchet in the back, and we're going to pick it up with the ratchet straps with the frame. Now it's not going to matter that it's up in the air because obviously it's going to the frame. So even if I were to drop this thing, it would just, the transmission and the engine would drop together. So, but I like having the room underneath there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to use a ratchet strap to pull it towards, and then we'll put the cross member and all that shit in. So hopefully I can find the cross member bolts, but it's all coming together. I really do want the transmission and this thing all together today, which is 100% doable. So drive shaft, front drive shaft, all the sensors back here, anything under the truck will be done today, 100%. So let's get her up there. All right, here's about where we're at. I've been using the ratchet strap method, holding these up using one jack. Got the cross member in, not this one bolt, but I got the other side in. It's missing 2 bolts. Well, missing 1 nut and 2 nuts and 1 bolt. And I did all that and forgot to put the drive shaft up. So I'll get this in place, re-drop this, throw this up, connect it, that'll be good. But that's how we're doing it right now. It's just the ratchet strap method. It sucks, but it's what you got to do when you don't have the transmission jack is all. Let's go over where we're at. We got the transmission in and bolted. I got to put the rest of the bolts in, get the bottom bolts, get the cross member bolts, get 2 more cross member bolts, and that's that. Drive shaft needs to be put back up, tighten up the front drive shaft bolts, and then we have that. Need to get the interior back together, so we'll drain the fluids and put everything out, reconnect the arm, which was, I don't know why this was taken off. So I gotta go through, here's the cover. Not sure, oh, it's right here. So I gotta go through, put this back on. For 4-wheel drive to work, the guy lost that. So that's kind of disappointing. I'm trying to get this thing done as cheap as possible, and it's like every other time I turn around there's parts missing or something, but it is all back in, like I said. You guys will see over on this side, there's the drive shaft hanging. You know, it's pretty ugly. You can see a bolt. I gotta go grab all that, but it is in. We are getting there. We're gonna call it for the day. Tomorrow, coming back here first thing in the morning, we're gonna go stop at the P.O. box before they close and see if there is anything else in the parts for this thing, and maybe even my truck, because I got some things for it too. But this thing all buttoned up tomorrow, and now we can start cleaning it up and just getting ready to get it out of here. Like I said, there is some small tiny things that are needed. We do need the PCM yet, but by the time he gets the PCM, the tone ring, and a few other things, we do want the space, so we're going to pull this thing out of here, and then we'll get the key made, which might just go to the dealer. I'm not sure, but this is all the stuff we're going to have to. I'm going to try to get a lot of this stuff cleaned out for him since he can't really store it. You guys see this gasket maker stuff from Napa? This stuff is the bomb. Seriously. Love it. So that's going to do it for it, and we'll change the tranny and transfer case fluid tomorrow. But after quite a bit of busted knuckles, busted skull, I'm I'm gonna call it. Let me know if there is anything else you guys want to know about the truck, or any details that I've missed over this entire swap and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty ugly, but he said he's gonna get this thing cleaned up. I did try to sell the bed, but obviously save as much money as possible. So as for the billing and whatnot, I'm gonna be going over all of the billing and how much this project actually costs at the end of the day. Since I am just a single individual, my prices are a lot lower than, you know, a big dealership or a big shop or something like that. I was just told, I guess Ford down in Tennessee, I guess their shop rates are like $175 for the dealership. I charge $95 an hour for diesel work specifically, and then $75 an hour is everything else. But that's pretty much it. But this, I quoted about 40 to 45 hours on this. I'm thinking we could be, you know, up at the 50 range, but just because of stuff missing and whatnot, but that's pretty much it. It's like a full engine swap, full transmission swap, full like go over the engine, change all the gaskets, do all the bullshit. So there is a lot of stuff that really goes into it. Yes, it could have been done. I said this before in a few previous ones. This project could have easily been done in a week if you actually have all the parts, or you go and buy a new motor. Honestly, if you're gonna go through the effort of doing this and you're gonna pay somebody, I would absolutely recommend a new motor or a low mileage motor. I don't mind my high mileage motors. I put a 200,000 mile motor in my truck, and you know, it's got 330,000 on it right now, and it does its job. But 100% I would recommend a newer motor, especially with what this is going to cost. Labor-wise, I think we're talking, and this is just an estimate right now, we're talking about $4,275 labor-wise, on top of, I think he spent probably another, well, at this point with the ECU in there, probably spent about $3,500 on parts. So all said and done, if you're paying somebody to do this, we're looking right around $7,500, $8,000. So it's not cheap. If you do it yourself, I did my first one. I literally went and bought a $1,500 engine and sent it. It cost me $1,500 to do a 12-valve swap. It was the worst thing in the world. You know, obviously had to make it better over the years, but using YouTube, I was able to rebuild the truck and get paid to do it, which was awesome. But there are a lot of pros and cons. Like, there's a good amount of pros, but there's also a lot of cons to this swap as well. So whereas he could have, obviously buying it, but, you know, buying it the way that he did, obviously that was the route to go because it was already there and the previous owner couldn't get a hold of him. But if you have a good engine and you're gonna pay somebody, it would, I think before I paid $5,100 to rebuild 20 over on my common rail engine that had broken rings, and I did put a BD 2-piece manifold on it, so it was like $4,600 to rebuild an entire common rail. But then you have to do injectors as well. I didn't do injectors, but you should do injectors as well. So you're right around $8,000 to do a full rebuild, swap it 20 over if you ever have like piston ring problems and you hurt the cylinders. You're pretty much right in the same ballpark to put an engine in or 12-valve swap it. So that's what I'm going to tell you there. Now, if you were to end up selling your common rail and doing this yourself, you could actually make money back if you were doing it yourself. But if anybody else wants to do this, I have an entire checklist now that I know how to do this swap from top to bottom. I did my black truck. I've went through the past 2 years making everything right and figuring out the correct way. I've gotten to do one from scratch. So go down through the list, figure out what parts work, what doesn't. Going off of my truck and his truck, building a list off of that. So I know what worked with mine, what worked with his, and kind of like putting those things together into that list so that it makes it a lot easier for you guys. So if you do want to bring me any more 12-valve swaps, let me know. I'd love to do another one of these, but this time more prepared. This is my second one. I'd love to do a third, a fourth. You know, these are fun. I do enjoy these. And if you give me all the parts and we can do it correctly and whatnot, then I'm happy with that. Nice thing about having a toolbox that's removable, I can take the whole toolbox off and bring it down in the shop. So I'm gonna back down a little bit and put my tools back on. Also for the guys, I asked yesterday about taking these hooks off, and a lot of people said don't do it because of reverse snatch blocking. And I don't think people realize that my reverse snatch block can literally go to this. I would rather pull straight than pull crooked. And at the same time, someone said, oh, these are frame mounted. These are actually mounted to the bumper. These are not frame mounted. So this and this are the same. Actually, this is probably even stronger because some of these pins are rated for an insane amount of weight. But yeah, either using this, these need to go anyway because the winch isn't going to clear. So I am 100% getting rid of these, and I am going to put, you know, get a little receiver thing for like a D-ring there or a shackle or something. So, well, this is the little toolbox I carry with me, and you know, not the most organized thing in the world, but a lot of tools, not very much space. So I don't know what to tell people about that because I'm a very big organization freak, but not much I can really do about it. So let's grab it and throw it out there. Not gonna lie, I kind of am digging that look. Kind of like that color, but well, that's all done. Now we get cleaned up. All right, real quick here at the end of the video. Aux Beam, this is the first package that I'm getting from them, but I couldn't wait. Has sent me some pods here for the back headache rack. So I'm gonna get these things installed, but they gave me, and they do a really good job, I think, at this. They gave me a harness with the, you know, the whole relay and whatnot. But I think the way that I'm actually going to do this, because I don't like a bunch of aftermarket wiring, what I'm going to do is I am going to take these and mount them and wire them into the factory upper light up there. So that's what I'm going to do, because I think I don't want a bunch of random switches and whatnot. So that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to run it. And that way, anytime I turn the factory switch on, these can turn on with it, because why would you separate them? That's just my logic. So I'm sure someone can give me a reason as to why that's a bad idea, but that's the way I'm going to do it. All right, so I got the brackets on the truck. So now I just need to figure out how they want. I guess these go in the side, and then looks like the nut gets stopped in there. So that'll work cool. We'll grab them and send it. Alright, here's what they look like. Sitting up there. I didn't wire them in yet. Probably not going to do that because it's raining out. But stick out a little bit. Perfectly fine. And then, like I said, we're going to hook them into that third brake light. And then this guy here, this is what will activate them. So you guys can see, those lights come on. That's what we'll do. But it just obviously is raining right now, so no point in doing it. I'm gonna head home, enjoying this rainy weather. Alright guys, real quick before I go, this is, sometimes I like to call out stupid, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I had somebody who told me to finish one project before I started another. Obviously, this is not a person who has ever owned a business. Nope. And then there was actually people who liked the comment. People don't seem to understand. And then, you know, for the person that did comment back, people do understand that. If you're waiting on parts and you cannot finish a project, you move on to the next project, or you work on what you can get done, because that's what's paying you. The logic here is, if one project's not done, I should completely not film any YouTube videos. I should not do anything until this project is done. So sometimes you get something that just comes along and it's just too funny not to say something about. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next video. Feel free to dislike, leave a hate comment, and unsubscribe, and I will see you in the next video, because even the haters, making content so good, even the haters come back and comment every single video. So appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Later.